sharing? Did you share? Oh, we're live. We're live.
Hey everyone, usually I say happy Saturday, but today we're going to say happy Wednesday. Welcome to the I Am Free podcast, y'all. And today I am so excited to have my amazing guest here on this beautiful rainy Wednesday here in Jersey. Oh wait, you hear an echo? Let me move this. So we're just so grateful to be here on today, guys. So we just ask that y'all share this, okay? Go ahead and share this on today. I want to put the comments up. I'm going to share it myself, y'all. So please just go and share, subscribe, like. You guys can definitely ask questions on today. But I do ask that we're going to keep the questions on a limit because I don't want no political crazy questions coming on in here, but because I want people to get to know this amazing woman that I have the pleasure of meeting years ago. And I just want you guys to see and know this woman on a personal level. And we're letting the hair down today. We're not doing all the down, okay? And we're just gonna have a good time. I know normally, so today we're going to be talking about walking in your purpose. And I think a lot of times we really don't know what does that look like, right? What our purpose is versus the purpose that God has for us. I was born in Jersey City. My girl was raised in Jersey City. Ew. Okay, don't hurt nobody, girl.
We love our Roselle now. Come on. But yes, that's where we're from.
We live in Roselle now, but we from Jersey City, okay?
Yes.
But it's just so great to but I'm just so grateful, guys. I really ask for y'all to go and share this. I'm about to do the same real quick. So I am not ignoring, guys. I am sharing, and I ask y'all to do the same thing. So I'm going to, even though we're using Councilwoman Denise Wilkerson, that's how I'm introducing her. I also want you guys to know her as my sister friend.
Yes.
Strong woman that I truly do admire. I really do. I love her resilience. I love her loving, kind heart. You know, she is truly genuine. And really she's been a support system this is not even like anything that has to do with the town. This has just really been for me since the very first day that I met her. She's been definitely someone that I can say that's really kind of been a support system for me. We're going to share how we met. So I'm gonna let you share that. So y'all,
you share it. You share it. It's your experience. You share it. I'm gonna add in, okay?
Guys, okay, so I'm gonna share it. But so I think it was the first time I had a death in a family. Mm-hmm. I think it was my death in the family first. So I had a death in a family from someone who I was very close with. It was very, very tough for me because that was really a death that I never really experienced to hurt so much and close. And we didn't even know each other at the time. I put a post up, of course, sharing the passing of my family member. And one day I just get a knock on the door and it was her. And she showed up with a card. I think you even bought me flowers that day, I think so.
I can't remember. I know I definitely came with the card. Yeah.
I think you even bought some flowers that day. And I didn't know who she was. And so I'm like, oh my God, thank you. And we talked, and it was mainly on a personal note because I didn't really even know. And from that day forward, we just connected. Mm-hmm. I was then invited to, like, again, y'all, I'm sharing. I was invited to do a talking event because I guess we got to know each other more on a personal level. She invited me to a personal event and to do on Zoom. We was talking about I don't know if you want me to.
No, you can share. We're going. We're going there.
Yes, it was about, us as women losing our children, whether that was through stillbirth, whether that was through miscarriage, and just experiencing that myself, and her daughter and other women were on there talking, and it was just such a time to really kind of connect on even on a deeper level, right? Because there were things that we all go through as women, but we don't really get a chance to really talk about it and grieve and support each other as one, right? It's always this competitional thing, but to know that we all came into this private space to all talk about something that us women experience, right? And how we grieve, because men, they be like, they don't see it how we see it, because we're going through this process. So it was great that she invited me there. And I even want to say this, you know what? Even before the death of my family member, I remember you coming to my door. To that. That's how you knew who I was, where I lived.
And I saw the death online, and then I felt, oh man, I know how the death is when it happens. It's so traumatic. Yes.
That's how you knew where I lived at. So I have to share this, right, guys? Hey, Denise, good afternoon. I'm so used to saying good morning. I'm so used to saying good morning. But I just want to share this too, is that when we've been in this town now 13 years. 13 years we've been in this town. And I remember Denise coming to me, knocking on my door. The only 13 years, y'all, that have come and knocked on my door, even though that said, what can I do to help you in this community? Like, what are you looking for to grow in this community? What would you like to see happen in this community? She was the only person that ever asked me that. And I'm just like, wow, I never had, nobody never asked my husband or I that. If we did have somebody knock on the door, it was just like, can I have your vote?
Mm-hmm.
It was never, what can I do? Or what would you like to see happen in this community? And from that day, and then when she came to my door for the death of my family member, it was just like, wow, like, you know what I mean? You didn't have to do that. Honestly, you didn't have to do that.
Yeah, but I think too, there was a certain, there's a light about you that was just, I met you at the door, but you were always energetic, always positive. And then when the death happened, it was so tough for you. And, I just hated to see your spirit, which is always bright and cheery, to turn. And I just wanted you to know that you weren't suffering alone. They call me sometimes the funeral or banquet councilwoman. But I do that because the moments that are important to people, where possible, if I'm free, I want to make sure that I come there and be there, because those are the moments that really make up people's lives, and not just, garbage and all that other stuff, but the real things that they go through at home. And so seeing you suffer was kind of hard, and I wanted to pick you up a little bit. Yeah.
And you did that. I'm telling you, I kept thinking, I'm like, thank you so much, because
it was because of you. It was because of the energy that God puts through you, that you project. When you project that positive energy, you get it back. You know what I mean? Like that's just how it works. So yeah, it was really because of you.
I do, because y'all don't know, I was in a funk. Okay, I was in a funk. I was in this house going crazy, and I'm just grateful that you were able to really kind of feel that, you know what I mean? And also come to that point where, okay, let me see what I can do. People don't realize it's those little things that really matter. It really is. So I thank you for that. And to this day now, guys, we've been connecting. I've had the honor of speaking at the yearly for Women's Month
Twice.
Yes. And can I share that?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to ask you, because I'm trying not to, really go, but I gotta say this, and I want to make sure, because I need y'all Roselle, y'all listening? Roselle, y'all listening, Roselle? Because I need y'all to understand this. I want them to know. Let me say this: with the Women's Month, yearly for Women's Month that we have, that she puts together, guys, is so. Hi, Eileen. Good, happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Yes, high energy. Ooh, ooh, ooh. The one thing that I want to say is that oh my God, my trainer. Oh, when we did the Women's Month, is that we need to do that so much more often. Because what I like that when we do these women events, what happens there, right, is that everybody's hair is down.
Yeah.
Everybody, all the women, because we wear the capes, we
Mhm.
put the S on our chest.
Yes.
So we put the capes are taken off,
That's
right? Capes are taken off. Our hair is down. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got no makeup on, even though we be looking cute, but you know what I'm trying to say. We come in there with our hearts open. We're coming there to receive
right.
something. We're coming there to really whatever it may be going through. People come there, and I know for experience, people are leaving out of there. Women are leaving out of there with a transformation.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I thank you for that opportunity to really be able to show up at those moments. And that time, the last one that you invited me to speak at, I want to say that was the first time that I ever really was able to share my testimony. So I want to say thank you because of me, because of that. The I Am Free podcast
Is here. Is here.
Okay, so I want to say thank you, Lord. We give you the praise first, Lord God. We thank you, God. But
Yes.
that right there really gave me, that like, no, this is what I want you to do. Once again, right? Walking in your purpose. It was confirmation of God saying, no, this is your purpose. Now go set others free. Go be a part of helping others share. So that was the break. And then after that, you saw I Am Free podcast started.
Yes. Yes. But I
But
think I want to say that the conferences that we put on for women, we definitely tell speakers, don't come here talking about the position you hold and how great you are, but tell and share with women those moments where you thought you couldn't make it, that you were so deep in doubt for yourself or despair, but you knew you were worth pushing through for, and you fought through it. And so they come sharing real personal stories. We always try to get some Roselle women in there because we know that this is a beautiful community with women who have amazing stories. And so I really do believe that you're on your path because you gave to someone else. Like you decided, I wanted to help the women in my community. I'm going to share my own personal story. I'm going to put myself out there, right? It's going to bless somebody else. And so at the end of the day, God is blessing you for being a blessing. And so it works itself out when you give, you get. You're not giving to get, but it's the process, right? And it happens, and God designed it that way. And that's why you're where you are now, doing these great things, transforming lives. I watch. I watch.
Yes. And I appreciate that. And I think that's where we connect at. I
Mhm.
think that not only because we, Jersey City, but but it's because too that you really do have a genuine heart. And I think that's why we connect, right?
Mhm.
It's not a selfish, like, okay, I do this for you, then what can you do for me?
Right.
It's never been that. I think, and like I said, I really don't want to talk too political, but I
Yeah.
think a lot of people see Denise Wilkerson, the councilwoman, right? But they don't see the Denise who is human, who is somebody who cries, someone who hurts, someone who loves, someone who gets angry, someone who, want to give some, she wants a hug too. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
put your hair down. You know what I'm saying? Like you are also human. And I just wish that others would see that too, right? Like I had an example, an officer. Let's just use it because I know they get a lot of scrutiny. We just see the blue thing and they kill black people. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the first thing people, they racist. It is a stigma to certain positions that are held. And I
Mhm.
truly believe that when you are walking in your purpose, the God-given purpose, and we're going to talk about that because I wanted you to share your journey, right? Is that the enemy will come to try to kill, steal, and destroy when the
Mhm.
purpose is when the Lord has given you that purpose. See,
Mhm.
man creates purpose for themselves, right? But then
Mhm.
there's some who understand that their purpose was created by God.
Mhm.
And when it's created by him, the enemy comes every which way to try to detour you
Mhm.
off your path that the Lord has created for you. And
Right.
so, can you share a little bit about your journey? Because I find it very interesting. Um, from this little girl, right, from Jersey City to now being, and because you could have been a product of your environment. Same here, right? We
Yeah.
could have been, but yet now you are, to me, right? I don't care what that that you are an example for real. You are an example, right? For others to
Mhm.
really look up to. People don't realize that people can, those young girls, black, white, Spanish, Asian, don't matter, that there's a woman here who decided to walk in the purpose that God had created. It wasn't always this straight, clear path, but as life goes on, God puts you on that track that is was meant for you to walk. So can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I do want to talk about that, but I want to first just address, something you said, right? So people see you, they don't understand you, whether they're, have this perception or heard something somebody else said. No matter what, you are who you are, and if you're authentic, there's nothing that's going to change the way that you are. You know what I mean? So you just really keep moving in that space, and you hope that people. I remember I went to Holy Family Academy, and I was, one of the few. We didn't have blacks in the school, right?
Mhm.
And I knew I had to be a representation of kind of my people, right? And they have perceptions about black people and what they were, and all I could do is be myself and my genuine self. And for some of them, I was their very first black friend, right? But you know what? Being who you are genuinely really creates a space for relationships to build. So the more people interact with you, the more they'll know.
Mhm.
My journey is so crazy. Okay. Yes, I'm from Jersey City. And I love when I grew up, you know what I mean? Like, because I grew up in a time when, black entrepreneurs really were present in the community. Everybody on my specific street were like, the parents were there. They owned their house on Wegman Parkway, for those of you wondering. And so we really kind of grew up where everybody knew everybody, and it was pretty nice, right? But there was still the ills of the urban environment, right? You had drug dealing, you had all these other situations going on, and you really had to reconcile what maybe you learned in your home with kind of what you see on the street, and then try to figure out where your space is in that. And I thank God that I was able to survive a lot of that. But there were a lot of challenges, in my teen years. I was in a very serious domestic violence situation. It wasn't easy. I've had, guns in my face. I was kidnapped. Like, it was serious. It was a serious, serious domestic violence situation. And I remember I went to court to drop the charges, and the judge says, no, little girl, you're going to be killed. You understand? And so, no, we're not. And they ask you all these questions. Are you being threatened? Are you, and so that's the seriousness of that relationship. To my private school in Bayonne had his picture there and said that he wasn't allowed on the grounds. But I had to figure out my way out of that situation. Where do I find my strength? Because domestic violence situations are really there to kind of suppress your spirit, to break you. It's a plan of the enemy to break you down, and to not believe that love exists, or to really succumb to treatment that God has never designed for you to go through. And so I had to find my way out of that. I also used to hide it from my brothers because they didn't play. You know what I mean? They didn't play, but I had to hide it. And so you just in the dark in this domestic violence situation. But I thank God that I made it through. And I make it a point in life to make sure that I share that story with women. I speak all the time about domestic violence because I know that there are women suffering. I can't sit here and be a councilwoman and act all that when I know that I was in a dark place at one point, needed to get out, and then, needed that encouragement. And so I provided to other women today. So everything that I went through, I believe God has done to prepare me to be a servant to other people. Does that make sense to you? Like,
Definitely, definitely. A lot of times we don't understand why we go through these things when we're going through it. But then when you look back, like now, I'm like, now I get it. You know what I mean? Like, because the Lord has been talking to me about my purpose lately and just recently confirmed it. And I'm like, now I get it. Now
yeah.
I understand it, right? So I'm glad that And I think that's another thing that we've been relatable on is that domestic violence, right? Which I don't know if we ever talked about that part, but but look what God has. It's good to see like you're human too. Not that the domestic, but right, we as women, we go through so much. We battle postpartum, we battle miscarriages, we battle depression, we battle domestic violence and all of these different things, right? That makes us so more relatable than what we think.
Yeah.
So I love that you shared that part.
Yeah. And I think that it's so important that we are sharing as much as possible, because we really have to help others understand that it can happen. There's nothing wrong with you, but you have the ability to get through, right? If you need
Yes.
so I don't know how far I can keep going. So you just gotta
Go ahead. I just love that the main important thing is this, right? Is that you didn't let that situation define you, because a lot of times those type of situations, because I was once there too, right? Is that it did at that point. For me, it defines me at that moment. It took me a while to shake that and be like, okay, this is not me. And some of it just recently happened in my transition with God. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that you didn't allow that to define Denise,
Yeah. No, and I do believe in retrospect that God puts you do these things to make you who you are for the real purpose, right? I'm not saying he creates a person that wants to harm you when they should be loving you. We're not saying that. But you go through those things and God will use it for your good, for you to be a stronger person. A lot of people get I am a strong person. I'm a strong personality. I thank God for that strength. I come from a long line of strong Black women. My grandmother was the pastor of the church. She has fed hundreds of families with her by making dinners in the church. She provided, financial support for some of the families struggling in the church. My mother, she was a single mother and went on to own a lot of real estate and ended up helping provide hundreds with low income housing, helping businesses get started. She always funded her nieces or whoever when they were buying a home or something. My mother was amazing. And so I come from that kind of strength that you just keep going, but you also help others move forward. So I just want to say that I think that kind of experience actually helps you to kind of build that. God's not putting you through anything, but when you go through it, you're going to come out as pure gold because it's the fire.
Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Let them know. Okay.
So anyway, so that was my teen years. I ended up having a baby at 19 years old, which I love, my ride or die, and the mother of my granddaughter. And so I had a child at 19 years old. And I remember thinking like, wow, my life is over. I was on the debate team. I was ready to go do this. And, like I had so much possibilities. And then I thought, oh man, I'm having a child. It's over. But see, God is the ultimate. He's the author and the finisher, right? He has all the say. And I thank God that I didn't succumb to that mindset that there was, I was limited in what I could do. And so I ended up working every day. I was working so hard. And then I had an opportunity to move into the corporate space. And I was so grateful to have a job that was pretty okay. You know what I mean? And when I started, it was entry level. You weren't making a lot, but you definitely were making more than a check from the state, right? And so you were grateful. And I went into that workspace grateful, not kissing up, but grateful. And so I volunteered a lot for a lot of initiatives. And I remember we acquired a company once. And so we acquired the company and I decided that I was going to volunteer for that. I didn't say, oh, I don't get paid for that. So no, I can't do that. No, I knew that it was going to be fertile ground for me to learn.
Yes.
God was putting me in a space not to just be with a job as a data entry person, but to actually learn and to build skill. And so I learned all about acquisitions and how to merge one company into the other. And because I was like a critical thinker, people appreciated me being on the project. I wasn't there just doing what I'm doing, but I'm adding value to the conversation. And I began to be a part of steering committees and all kinds of committees for the corporate space. And I ended up going on to be one of the top African-American executives. I was director of e-commerce, traveled the world, little girl from the hood, traveled the world, India, London, like just different places to do business on behalf of that company. And I was a beast because you know what? I took the time to learn. That's one thing I do. If you feel like you in purpose or you feel like you are, on a path that only God can set you on, take the time to learn more about it, right? How does it work? How can I be better and stronger in this space? And I did, and I did pretty well. And I was so excited about that. I remember one time my sister, she told them, oh, my sister is in India. And they were like, oh, is she in the military? Like that's the only way we could travel, you know what I mean? That's not an insult, but it's the limitations we put on ourselves.
Yes.
Right, because we don't see it a lot, but I thank God for that. So from domestic violence to the corporate space, being able to kind of really master my trade, I ended up making hundreds of millions of dollars for that organization through the platform that I managed. Had teams in India, teams all over the country, Canada. It was amazing. It was really an amazing experience. Transformed to that. Okay. And then I was like, I'm a person where I'm 100% on. Either I'm 100% on or I'm 100% off. There's nothing about me that's in between. Okay. Like I am full on. And so I'm very passionate about everything that I do. And it became a time when I was like, yo, I think I don't want to be in this space.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, I went to the bosses and said, guys, I think I want to leave. Why don't you guys work something out, figure it out? And so they were like, no, we need you to stay. I mean, we went on for about 2 years before I actually was like, okay, guys, I knew God was calling me for something else. I didn't know what. You know what my biggest dream was? I live by Warwick Park. And so every time I would drive out and go to the city, you would see people running. I was like, how did they get to do that in the morning? Like, I got to go be in a corporate space, go be in an office. And my dream was to run in the park in the morning and have my own firm and just do a few little projects here and there.
Wow.
Yeah. So I ended up finally working something out with the company. They did me really well. I appreciate them. It is such an important part of my life. And so then I left and I had my firm and then I started getting clients right away. So I was back to being busy and still not doing what I said I was going to do, which is run in the park at 9 a.m. And then, so I was like, God, this can't be what you want me to do, to just stay busy. My number one word was busy. And I really appreciate every gift that he gave me in that space of my walk, like Robert Wood Johnson, Data Soft Tech. Those were some of my clients. And I loved it. But I didn't want to just be busy. And I remember someone saying, oh, well, you run for office. I said, okay, I got nothing to do. Let's go. And I did it. And I spent my own money. And I did win that first seat as the first ward councilwoman here in Roselle.
Wow.
I never saw myself in politics. I would always be conscious politically about what was happening and, presidential. I would even walk with people if they said that if I believed in them or whatever. And so, but I never thought myself to run for office. And then I did it and I won. And I thank God for it because it is a life of service. He was preparing me all this time to be a service. Every dark corner was for me to know that there are people in the dark spaces that you have to see. I ask God every day, Lord, show me the one. Who's the one person I'm supposed to connect with today? You may not be able to connect with tens and hundreds of people, but who's the one person that I'm supposed to be an encourager to? Who's the one person that I'm supposed to meet? And I will either be a helpmate or they will be a helpmate to me, so being open to that. And I thank God for the space of public service because you have access to do that. And it's been an amazing ride. I love what I do. I love helping people. I love moving this borough forward. And it's all because of God. That is the journey. And there's so many different times in between there, so much loss, so much grief. I don't know how you want to get into that later.
I was going to ask you about that in mind.
That is along the way, you have so many toss and turns, but stay the course. God is real. and he will keep you at the end of the day. And I ain't perfect, and I'm not a super uber Christian, but I'm a believer. I believe in God, and I believe that when I'm weak, he will give me strength. And when I don't know the next step, he will do that. He will provide that. He will give me wisdom to figure out what to do next. So I thank God for that. It's not me. Some people see my strength. I have weak moments, but it really is about God being able to remember me and say, hey, you my daughter. I know it's rough for you, but hold on. And then you get through. So that's a little synopsis.
No. And that's so good, right? Because once again, right, we try to create our own path, and how he derails you to put you into that space, right? It was an opportunity. Okay, I'm gonna try it, right? And look, what is meant for you is gonna be for you.
Amen. Yep.
It was meant for you. You know what I mean? What's meant for you. If it wasn't meant for you, the doors wouldn't open. And I think a lot of times people are afraid to take a chance to say, you know what, let me try this.
You should.
Not knowing that that's the door. You know what I mean? That may be that door that you need to push open.
Yeah.
And I think we allow the spirit of fear to get in the midst of it. The what if? What if people say this? What if people say that? What if a person do this? You can't worry about what people are going to do, what people are going to say, because once again, what is for you is going to be for you. We can't take that away, right? Again, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. No matter what daggers come, no matter what words are said, no matter what, the Lord said it, he said it. Like I said, people didn't want Trump to be in office, but the man made it. That's who God ordained to be there.
You know it. We all scared.
We agree to disagree, right?
Yes. Somebody asked me that. I was at a conference, and there was this film crew from another country, and they asked the question about Trump. And while I do think that there's work we have to do, and I won't get political, but to make sure that people are okay during this time, right? We have to stand together and fight for one another and make sure. But at the end of the day, God is still in control.
Exactly. So
while I do believe faith without works, right? Come on now. You still got to do your job. But at the end of the day, don't be so in despair. Like I tell people, when believers grieve, we grieve, we're sad, but we also know that God will hold us up, right? So it's yeah.
And I think too, okay, I'll and I think as well that it's really just trusting God. Even when we read the word, even for myself, I always go back to the book of Exodus, right? Imagine if the Israelites stuck together. Imagine if they really came together instead of murmuring and complaining. What could have really happened? And the Lord still blessed them throughout it, right? He still provided for them. So that's just that's my book. I love the book of Exodus, but I want to talk about the grieving. I think if you don't mind me touching on that for a moment, I know it's a very sensitive topic.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. So go ahead.
Just people to know, because like I said, I really get the pleasure, and I'm so honored to not know just the Councilwoman Denise Wilkerson, but I know her as a woman. I know her as a resilient woman, right? I mean, we go through life, but I still see this one. I'm telling y'all, every time I see her, she be smiling. I'm like, Lord. And even when I personally know she's dealing with things, right? Imagine, and I want y'all to realize this even for yourselves for a moment, especially y'all women, okay? We go through so much personally. And then you still gotta wipe that off your face, right? Throw some makeup on, fix your hair, and you gotta go out here and you still gotta smile. That takes courage. That takes strength. That takes, to me, and this is my opinion, right? I love what I do, and I love the people that I'm doing it for. Do you think that every day I want to come home from work and cook for these mofos here? Do you think that I want to clean every day and do laundry and work? Do you think that I want to do that and run around, take this one here, take them to the store, this one, where to go to? You think that I want to do that? The grandkids coming over, tear the house up, they leave. I still got to. No, I don't. let's keep it real, right? We don't be wanting to do it all the time.
Right. Okay.
I love my family, right? I love my community. I love my little community. They can work your nerves, but you love them, So it's an honor to serve my family. I get joy out of feeding my family. I get joy out of my home being clean and then now seeing them happy. And I take that when it comes to you and what you do for this community, right? There's times where you weary, I've seen my sister go through a season. And if you don't mind me saying this, but a season, when I tell y'all back to back to back to back to back of death, and these were close. This wasn't, the great cousin, 5 generations ago. This is literally in an immediate family, like close. And I got to see her hurt and pain and tears. And I'm just like, wow. But then when I'm in the street, I see her smiling and I'm like, how do you do it? And her response is, I'm about to get teary-eyed because I know.
I'm trying to tell you, don't make me do it.
No, I am getting teary-eyed because, like, I saw you. You know what I mean? Like, people don't get to see that. And I would see her out and about, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what? And she's smiling. And she was like, I love my community. I'm doing this for the people. I'll grieve, deal with my personal later. She has to, as a mother, right? It's like you're the mother of the community. I'm saying that in a sense of like a contrast, right? It's like I have to put aside what I'm feeling personally now to take care of my community. And I'm going to put myself on the back burner for now. She did this through the death of grandchildren, her mother, aunt, this was.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen this happen, and she loved the community so much. Ooh, because I just remember those moments. I'm being very serious. I've seen the hurt Denise. I've seen the Denise that had tears, that was grieving, and I really don't want to get too much deep into this. But then you see someone say something negative about someone on a political sense, I meant to say, knowing that a person is human and she's grieving this close death. And then it hurts because I'm seeing this woman smile and I know she's so hurt on the inside. And your response is you're not selfish. You could have been selfish, but she said, when you said that, I love the community. I can't give up now. Like, I have to do this. That right there shows so much strength. At that point, I was like, not that I didn't respect you then, my sister, but I did. But I gained so much more respect for you at that very moment that question, we had that conversation. I was like, oh no. It made me really look at you like, and then I'm seeing you speed around like Speedy.
My little tiny car running around.
I see this woman running around like Speedy, and I'm like, wow. And I want to say to you, I appreciate everything, and I mean that you do for this town, right? Our thing is everybody's not going to see what we do, but God sees it. And I may not see everything, but I see enough to see that what you do for this town. I really do. And I thank you. And I know that it takes an army, right? It's not just Denise Wilkerson who runs a whole town. Even though that's what people be thinking, just one person. This is everything. No, but I appreciate it because it takes a lot to have to put your family deaths to the side. You're grieving, whatever else you're going through, right? Tiredness, cramps, girl. Y'all know we be going through with y'all. Y'all know, okay?
Exactly. The
regular stuff, And then you got to do. You're doing this, so I really want to say that. Like, I appreciate and I respect you, for really doing what you do for our community. Seriously.
Yeah, and I think the deaths were really serious, right? Like, it was I was telling somebody how I don't know why you always got me doing that
I'm
crying.
sorry.
Like I think the so when I lost my daughter lost the baby, we're big baby people in my house. We believe in extension of the family. My grandmother had 18 kids. Like I got 1,000 cousins, right? And so that really hit us really hard. But it was so hard as a mom that was always active to step back and let my daughter grieve and watch her in pain. Like that was even worse, right? Like, cause it was me watching her in pain that she had to go through, right? She had to go through, and all I had to do is to be on the side, and I couldn't take it away for her. It was just so devastating, but she did an amazing job with the baby she already had and handling her grief. God kept us through that. I thank you for um being able to be a part of that online forum we had about it, because so many women, because I share, other women share, and I got so many inboxes of people that I knew that I didn't even know they had miscarriages, you know what I mean, or babies die. I didn't know that. And there was just so many people that we had to do the forum. I asked you, you didn't hesitate. You're always a giver. So that's why God is blessing you, because you always give when there's nothing to get. I had no money for you. I had no extra anything. It was just, can you give us an hour or two, right? So that was very hard for my family. And then my stepdad died. Him and my mother were together for 40 something years, right? And he raised me since I was like 8 years old. And he had prostate cancer. And he I just remember the day, like I had a obligation. So I was supposed to be on a Zoom class type thing with a group, and, going over stuff. And I remember the hospice people were there. And so we were like, I said, look, I thought I could go to the hospice meeting because so I was like, I'll go to the hospice meeting and then I'll drop on that. But no, life is happening. I couldn't get on the call because it was so real. It was so surreal. Like, it was just like, is this really happening? Are we really saying that there's nothing else that can be done? And so I had to get frozen in time for that, right? And then you think, okay, well, how is mom going to handle it? Because they're both getting older. They're both, they love each other so much. And so that was hard. And then he ended up dying. Like 6 months or so later. And I remember when we didn't tell my mother, right? And so we said, this is going to kill her. This is going to kill her. So what we did was we called my mother's sister, and we're like, listen, they're very close and they are believers. And so we like, listen, we're not telling her until you get here. Get here. So my aunt, she getting older too, so she can't move fast, but she came. And I remember we told my mother, and she just stared off, and we began to sing church songs, congregational songs. And my aunt started leading and we started singing. And then this in the bedroom now. And then my aunt, she's a prayer warrior. My aunt Maisie, she will pray you out of your socks. We start praying. And, my mother kind of took it okay. We just thought she would drop dead right there. But it was not only the death, but also the effect of the death on her.
Yeah.
And then she died. That was 22. My mother died 23. And so it was just like a lot was lost for the family. Two amazing people, hardworking people. My dad was from Haiti, from Cavaillon, but he worked really, really hardworking man, good values. Like, he didn't even carry an ATM card because he don't believe in taking money out of the bank. Like, he's just old school, real tough, but really good old values. And then my mom, same thing, strong woman, helped so many people, just really a person that will push you into purpose kind of person. And so she died. And then after that, so that was 22, my dad, 23, my mom, 24 was my fiance's mom. She was an amazing woman too. So she would spend time. I was laughing with somebody about it for Mother's Day, and tear, cry, laugh, but it was true. She would spend so much time with the kids. She would do arts and crafts with them. She
Wow.
would, listen to their story like it's so important. And she would always say, go on and tell your story, baby. And just listen to them. And they felt like somebody cared and was really, how you busy. You be like, go ahead. No, she listened and they thought she listened. And they really was just, and so it was such a loss for us as a family. And I think, it takes you to a place where you just question everything. And at the end of the day, I decided that the best way to honor them is to keep doing this work that I'm doing, which is to be a servant and to do what they've done, which is to help communities, right? Low income housing, helping businesses start up. Both of them had properties like that. And so that's what I want to keep doing to honor their legacy. But people don't realize how much that weighs in on you. Yeah. And then I keep working in the community because it was my purpose. Sometimes people don't show up to things because they're busy. A lot of the council are working full-time, daytime, and they can't make it. So if I'm the one, I'll go because somebody got to be there to represent the borough. We got to show our face to something. You got to be able to be there and show people you care about them. And kudos to all my colleagues that make their way to events and things like that because it's important. And so you try to do that. And when I do show up, I make sure that I show up with the intent of lifting spirits, not tearing down. And so you'll see me smiling even while I'm grieving because I have a job to do, which is to lift spirits and to make and be an encourager. And only God gave me the strength to keep doing that. I don't even know how I do it sometimes. And then I come home and I sit in the chair and I'm just like, but you do it because God gives you the strength to do it. And I thank God for that. That it's nothing you could do about it, but it has been a hard few years for us. I thank everybody who's been patient with me for that. I think God has shown that he will keep me and you keep going and doing what you got to do. So I thank God for that.
For sure. He will definitely keep you. He will never leave you nor forsake you.
Amen.
And so, he is definitely from giving you the strength. Because when I tell y'all, 1 minute I'll see her on first, and then the next one I'll see her on Chestnut. then I'll see her at third, and then she'll be dressed a whole nother dress, y'all. Okay. And then I see her taking pictures over here. I'm like, okay, girl, do your thing.
And they don't let you a gas or nothing, so you just gotta run around. So trust me, it's a labor of love, okay? Okay.
I'm like, that's why she be having them sneakers, because girl, you be.
And I'm over 50 now, so okay, I can't be.
You look good, baby.
Time, okay.
Let them know that's how you do it, though, right? You got to stay active to continue looking young, right?
Exactly.
I'm seeing them now be 30 years old, and I'm like, baby, you got to get it together. You can't be sitting around. You got
exactly.
Keep moving. But I think though too, right? When you have a heart like that, like you have, that also goes with aging, right? Mm-hmm. I think when you hold anger and bitterness and animosity and jealous in your heart, it rottens people on the outside. It's just like an apple, right? Mm-hmm. If it's rotten on the inside, at some point it's going to rotten it's going to show on the outside.
Right.
So that's how I view and I think that's another thing that gives you grace is that, you really do. I be really just wanting people to really see why? Because I know what it feels like when a person does something really out of the kindness of their heart and because they really want to do it, right? And you don't do it to be seen. You do it because that's what you want to do, right? Mm-hmm. I know, just having conversations with people, in the town, and even myself, I've never heard you say, well, I did this for Sansa, you know what I mean? I did this for Melissa. Or I made this call to do this. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
you,
No.
yeah, um, you do it genuinely from your heart. Like a phone call, this was going on my block, and that's not even your issue. It's not even your issue. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's a
Mhm.
police issue, maybe. But because guess what? So now you're stepping in. Like, let me see what I can do, sir, to help you with this. So I just love that you do what you do for the community. Seriously, like showing up. And I know that it takes a lot of strength. I know that it takes a lot out of you, but I thank God and I pray that He continues to give you the strength and the endurance and the peace, that goes along with this. Like, because I'm sure it can get tiring. I'm sure it could get weary. But I pray that God continues to bless you with grace and the strength to do this job that you do.
Yeah, and I think God always shows up in it, right? Like, because there's some times where you're like, oh my God, I don't even know how I'm gonna solve this problem or how I'm gonna, whatever. But He finds a way, right? And He finds a way for you to keep going. And I just thank God for that I'm able to like keep going and keep doing. And I think God is I think He has a special place in his heart. He has favor over Roselle because it's a great place. And we really got to turn it up and turn off this darkness where it's all negative, it's all this. No, God doesn't want that for us, right? And I do believe that He is transforming people to a place where they're more positive. You talked about that, where if you're on the negative on the inside, it eventually comes out. Well, we don't want that for Roselle, right? So wherever I can, I want to lift up the spirits. I want people to be optimistic and to help, right? I always tell people, well, what do you want to do? You want to help me? I had a woman and I, beautiful sister too. We were talking about domestic violence, and she said, well, the borough needs to do something about domestic violence, rightfully so, right? And I said, well, I'll do something if you help me. Like, you want to partner on something? And she did, and we had a nice, dinner where we talked about domestic violence with women. Women shared, women were transformed, and we knew that there was a path forward and work for all of us to do in the end. And I think that's how government should show up. They say government shouldn't be in social services, right? But you really should. The municipality doesn't have a lot of resources, but I make calls for people with the county or whatever to make sure you're trying to find resources for them. We have to be there for one another, and I think together, it becomes a better place, right? So giving, having a giving spirit, having that heart that you just want to be of service, and that means for a resident too, right? Because you serve the community. You can really come in. We have people that volunteer for different events. We have people who serve on boards. That's giving of your heart to your community. That matters, and God will see it, and He will bless you in your personal life.
Definitely. That's received. Y'all hear that? That's received.
Get involved now. Don't sit on that couch too long.
Yes, and I want you, no matter what town you're in, to take that, right? Get involved in your community some way, shape, or form. Volunteer once a month if that's all the time that you have. Get your children involved, and I want to share that. I love that I see your granddaughter and your daughter, and you could tell that she's so proud of her grandmother. You know what I mean? Like, you can see that your daughter is so proud of her mom. And I think that right there is a legacy in itself, right? Is that you're not doing this. This is not just you, right? This is your daughter. Because I remember it's been years, but your daughter being younger doing this, and then seeing your granddaughter as a toddler. Now look how big she's getting and getting involved. And even if she's helping give out napkins, or you know what I mean,
they gotta work. They gotta work. When we have a community event, you gotta work. Go pick the stuff up off the tables and put the stuff in the garbage, and let's help clean up. Like, this is not come and show up and act like you the council person. Kids, no, get to work, because we all love this community. So I'm glad that they're learning that firsthand.
Yeah, and I love that you're doing that, right? Because you're showing that we are a community, and we're going to put this working together as a family, not just as me by myself, and you're getting them involved, and now you see their love for the community. So
Yeah.
I want to just say thank you for that. And I just want to give a shout out to just everyone that's on the team that is really working so hard all the time, diligently around town, that I'm seeing the events that are put together. I love our little summer gatherings that we be having on the street. I love that.
Yes.
I want to say that because that's where you kind of get to meet people that you never would have met,
It's
right?
it's true. It's
Mhm.
bringing the community together, but it's also kind of like supporting the local businesses. That's why we do a lot in the different sector wherever there's a business like UEZ. We mostly do Chestnut Street. We just did Cinco de Mayo by another little row of businesses, but really trying to bring people to support these local businesses too. So all of it is kind of work that kind of helps the community full circle. And wherever possible, we're trying to find those grant dollars to make it happen. So that's
Definitely. I
nice.
love it. I have a question though.
Uh oh.
What advice would you give to someone who's on that journey, that because sometimes, like I said right in the beginning, we don't know like our purpose, right? We're
Mhm.
trying to figure that out. What would you say to that individual who don't really know what their purpose is, but they're seeking their purpose? You know what I mean? Like they're trying to figure it out.
Yeah. There is something that you have that when you do it, it brings you joy. You know what I mean? There is something that when you touch it and tinker with it, you just seem like you can find your way through it. You know, like you ever see somebody who can take a mechanical piece of something and just kind of all of a sudden put the screw where it's supposed to be and then everything comes together? That's a person who's a builder, a creator, a person who has the ability to see what, you know, you ever see the pieces all laid out on the floor like IKEA furniture? You never know how to put the thing together. Well, there are people who can just look at all of that and then build that piece of furniture, right? So those are people, tap into that. That's God showing you you have a knack for something. You have a talent for something. When you sing, do you bring joy? You might not be the best singer, but you ever heard an anointed singer, like somebody who really can touch in deep? Because that's what you're supposed to be doing. I think people really got to find what they're passionate about. What is the thing that bring you joy or you feel like you want to dedicate the most time to? And then pray about it and ask God, like, is this something I should dig deeper into it? Learn a little more about it, what goes into it. You know, is there trainers for singing? Is there schools that really talk about engineering or whatever it is to put things together and really start figuring out how can I do this every day? How can I give every day? Some people have, I know so many women who are head of nonprofits that are helping people all day. That is their job. They have resources and grants to give and be a service every day. So if that brings you joy, that's a real career. That's a real walk in your purpose. And so really finding what you're passionate about and then being able to continue to dig deeper into that and spend time with that space, you're going to find your purpose. You're going to wake up and you're going to be like, oh, this is it. That's what's going to happen. Yeah. So find what you're passionate about.
I love that. I love that response for sure. That's yeah, I heard that right.
It is. It
I,
is.
I needed that too. I needed that word of encouragement as well, for sure. So, is there anything that you would like? Because this is really too about knowing Denise Wilkerson, not the personal you. You know, what would you want people to know if there was one thing about you that you would want people to know? What would that be?
Ooh. I think for people, for me, it's like I'm doing what I want to do. Like this is really like giving and being of service is something I'm passionate about. I think God has a blessing for Roselle. I think that I have a space in that, and so I'm just doing what I think I want to do. Right? Like this is it. This is great work. I get paid $15,000. So this is another point. Oh, you're not going to always have a lucrative purpose.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that. Yes.
You can have a fulfilling purpose. Okay, so be conscious what you're looking for too, right? Because you get paid $15,000 a year. I run my car into the ground. You don't get any gas money or anything like contrary to belief for what you do. But it is a great work helping communities, going to the federal and state level, trying to figure out how we could bring resources to Roselle, whatever it is, supporting women, right? Like that has nothing to do with government. That is really about helping other women find their purpose, right? And to be encouraged, to keep putting one foot in front of the other, and God will do the rest, kind of thing. Those are the things that I really love to do. I have been in the corporate environment for over 20 years, and I get to do what I want to do now. You know, I always talk about people, we I don't want to say this joke, it's so bad. But sometimes you have some cultures where you don't get a chance to kind of just walk in your purpose and experience things. We're always working. There's always two people working in a house. You still can't deal. You can't live. You can't, there's no room to really explore your passions. I thank God that I have, a beautiful family. We're holding it together here in this town. But you have the space to kind of walk in your purpose. And so we're pretty lucky to be doing what, I'm lucky to be doing what I'm passionate about, but it is not always lucrative. It's fulfilling, but not lucrative.
And I love that you mentioned that, because that was something that was on my mind too, that I didn't know if we could have spoken about, was that, right? Your purpose doesn't always mean that it's going to pay you well financially, right? But it does pay you well in the fulfillment that you receive in it, right? And just saying like, wow, look at XYZ, look what happens, look how that turns around. Wow, you know what I mean? So
but God says you shall not lack, though.
You shall.
I look good, I dress good, I'm out here. I do what I got to do. I show up strong, and
I don't know.
About that. And when you lived a life where you've already had all of that, all my cars I paid for myself. Like you don't have to prove that when you walk in a room. It is so freeing to actually just walk in and be you. It is so freeing to actually just come up and show up and not try to put on airs. This is what I do. This is who I am. Yes, I got a little shoe on and a little, but all of this stuff is old stuff that I've had forever. And I don't feel the need to be buying into this materialism to prove that I'm somebody. No, I am a child of God. I'm walking in my purpose, even with my Coach bag. Okay. I don't need a Louis Vuitton to do that. Okay.
Coach bag. Okay. Especially when we find out about the whole China thing. Like, look, y'all better save y'all coins.
Exactly. You never know what's happening.
I got a Coach bag that's probably about 20 years old, and it's still in excellent condition. Okay.
Yes, exactly. There you go.
But I love it. I thank you. I really do. And I appreciate your heart. I appreciate, and I'm not saying this because I'm talking to you. Anybody that know me, that when I talk about you, is always of great things, right? Can't dot every I and cross every T. None of us, nobody perfect. Because I wish I could dot every I and cross every T. I can't. But right, I'm so glad that God gave us the grace, and I'm glad that don't ever change your heart. That's one thing I wanted to tell you. Okay, never change who you are. And I wish you was like you here, but I wish you was right here. But never change your heart, because what God has for you is for you, and it's for your heart to be what it is, right? Yeah. You're not. Hey, we're not meant that everybody gonna like us or love us, right? But at the end of the day, the purpose that He puts on your life, the assignment that He has on your life, is only for Denise. That's Denise Wilkerson's assignment. Like attached with your social, with your date of birth. You know what I'm saying? And it's stamped and approved. So man can't do anything about the purpose that God has for you. So don't change your heart. Keep loving. Keep shining. There's definitely a light shining upon you. And I mean that in all sincerity. And again, I just love the example that you bring to women, number one, because I definitely see the impact in talking to other women for sure, or the impact that you put on other women's lives and the impact that you're putting on our community. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point because that's so important because if you think you found your purpose and you're walking in it, you have an obligation to turn around and help another sister get to that, right? Like you don't get to just walk off into the sunset and just, I did this and you really have to look back. That is God's intention is for us to be his hands. You know what I mean? Like we can move things through the blood. We have that authority. So it's really up to us to kind of look back and help each other. And I thank God that I found amazing women all throughout Roselle. A sister called me and checked up on me, the other day around Mother's Day and sent me, and I was so shocked because it was a resident I didn't talk to for a while. And she was just like, I just want to make sure you're okay. And I'm like, people don't normally check. Okay, thank you. Like, it's so, people are beautiful. Roselle has beautiful people in it. And we just have to keep pushing forward to be that, but we have to be kind to one another. We have to help each other. You have a responsibility in your purpose walk to help somebody else be fully in their purpose. You know what I mean? You don't ever want to die not walking in that purpose. Find it. Do what you got to do. You know what I told people? I tell people all the time, how dare you? I think I was at one, I do a lot of speaking engagements, and I told somebody, how dare you? How dare you? I'm on the stage now, and I don't know, they're looking at me like, what you talking about? How dare you not walk in your purpose when there are people on the other side that God intended for you to bless? When you don't walk in your purpose, that is what happens when you're stuck. And so when we help somebody else get unstuck, guess what? Those people on the other side that are waiting to be blessed get blessed. And then more lives get changed, and more people get blessed, and more lives get changed. Like, that is our responsibility, I think, and we all need to play that role.
I want to thank you for that. That just touched me as far as this podcast, and just sharing my testimony, you sharing, because this is a testimony, right? This is definitely a testimony of not giving up, of being resilient, sticking to the plan, no matter what God has, walking in that purpose, good, bad, or ugly, doing it from with your heart, loving as you're going along, giving others opportunities. That's a testimony in itself, because at any time you could have just walked away. At any time you could have said, I choose me. I don't got time for these people. You know what I'm saying? At any time you could have done that.
Do it. Right.
You have to. And so, it's definitely a testimony. And I love, before we go, I do want to say it's very true what you said. If God blessed me in this position, let me help the next sister find their position. Let me help the next brother find their position. And I don't mean this in a black or white, my brother, in general, black, white, and guess what? Because we're all one. We're all one community. We're all, created the same, right? We're all created. So I thank you for that, because that is one thing that I can say, even if you don't know a person, because you didn't know me from a can of paint, and that you extend that helping hand some way, shape, or form. How can I would never forget that day you knocked on my door. It wasn't, will you vote for me? You're I would, and I love you for that, because you asked me, you introduced yourself, you asked me my name, and you said, what can I do? What would you like to see happen in this town? What can I do to, that would make you, I forgot the word you used, but like happy, what would you like to see? And if I can do it, I would try my best to make it happen. What would you like to see happen in this town? You didn't say for me, you said in this town, what would you like to see happen? And I was like, wow, because everybody just was like, vote for me, vote for me. I've never had anybody knock on our door and ask that question. And you didn't ask it once, you still ask it to this day.
Yeah, no, I think residents have a lot to contribute to the ideas. I get a lot of ideas. People think it's me. No, I get it from residents. They do tell me like you need to do this or and a lot of relationships are built from them coming to check you, right? Like, hey, y'all need to okay, well, let's talk about how that happens.
Yeah.
And you get to drive the change that they want to see. I mean, it's a big the municipality itself, and there's a lot to be done, but I think all of us together make Roselle better. You know what I mean? I talked to somebody the other day and they were talking about something for their street or whatever. And we talked about it. And it's like, that was an idea, something I never thought about it that way. Right. And then you get it and you hear it and you're like, oh, okay, so maybe we should look into that. So it really takes all of us to kind of make this municipality better. But I do want to say something that is totally not related that
Yes.
okay, to the borough itself. But to all, I do believe that God is doing something special with women. He is putting the word he gave me is he's putting God-fearing women in places where they say that he does not belong, so that those women can manifest his purpose in that space, right? Putting women back into the schoolhouses, right? Believers. He's putting women who's going to have compassion for that kid that's struggling at the table. There's going to be a soft word she's going to give. There's going to be a word of encouragement. There's going to be some tools she'll give the kid. She'll be able to see, oh, this is the one that I'm supposed to touch. I told you earlier, like, what is the one person that I'm supposed to touch today? You understand what I'm saying? And so when you're a believer and you're in the space, guess what? God is going to give you that eye to see and to be able to change their lives. Same thing when it comes to government. Like he's putting people in place that will be able, like Rosie McCamery, she's a believer. She's a power prayer woman. Like she's here and I believe she's going to make an amazing difference on the borough because she's a believer in the space. So, just look for where your tribe is, but God is putting his women in places that are they say he don't belong, but also he's putting you in position, not there to be second, not there to be third, but he's putting you in positions to lead and to transform environments. So please walk with that because that is why your purpose exists. So find out what you're passionate about and go ahead and change those environments and manifest God's purpose in it.
I love that.
It's my closing. That's what I got.
Thank you for that. You heard.
Walk with it. Walk with it. Walk with it.
Talk with it. Yeah, what your husband means to be. But I want to thank you. And I know you got a busy schedule because I know you got some stuff to do in this rain today.
Yes.
So I really just want to thank you for taking the time out today because you didn't have to say yes to me, but she did. I asked and she was like, sure, no problem. So I appreciate your yes. And I thank you for just sharing the personal Denise today. I thank you for letting your hair down, kicking your shoes off, you know what I'm saying? And just, yes, and looking good while doing it, okay?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for being a light. Just keep being a light to people. Keep being positive. Keep being a giver and keep transforming lives. So thank you so much for having me.
You as well, love. You as well. So guys, thank you. And we just pray that this touches someone as well to just walk in their purpose, not to give up, to do it with a kind heart, with a loving heart, and really not for themselves, but to use their testimony to touch someone else. Yes. So thank you so much. Thank you again. And we linked on.
I'll see you out there, okay, in the borough, girl. I'll see you out there.
All right, guys. Everyone, happy Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you on Saturday. God bless.